Join us for a review of the Mercedes GLC 63 AMG. Let's go! With the GLC facelift, it now always gets LED from standard as a headlamps. I mean, for that price, that should be that way now. Optional, the multi-beam LED, also with better high beam function. Also, the daytime running light has been changed. Here now, the 63 and the 63S. The S model, a little bit more horsepower spec. Tell you soon more about that. So the 63 model that gets a different front grille. You see, this is a so-called Panamericana grille with a wider lower end and those vertical fins, pretty powerful, also with a stronger air intakes here in the lower end. And they are indeed air intakes. This is open area and an additional radiator. Very massive, mid-size SUV, but surely in that AMG spec already looks a little bit bigger. The length is at 4 meters 65, 15'3" or 183 inches, and a normal GLC you would get from 17 to 19 inch wheels, AMG then 19 or 20 inch, and now with the facelift, exclusively for the AMG models, 21 inch wheels. Those ones here, wow, really massive. Maybe even too massive, I don't know, but you always have to think about the bigger you go with the wheels, the more comfort you will lose. So I would rather tell you to go for 19 or 20 inch and not for the 21. Even if it looks good, you will lose comfort. V8 B-turbo sign right here, soon more to the engine details. This one here is the SUV shape. So we have that rather classic SUV shape right here. Still, it has the GLC some coupe style elements. And the dropping line, design dropping line, is here right below the door handles. That hasn't changed much. Some contrast here in the lower bumper right there. And of course, mainly to the wheels, the very aggressive look. And they also changed a little bit here of those fenders. I think the sporty siding suits the GLC pretty much. The GLC facelift now changed the styling of the tail lamps right there. They are in this, two single design. The AMG version not only has the badges, but also those stronger beauty exhaust tips, but the outer ones, again, just beauty. The rear ones are on the very inside, and this diffuser also for the GLC 63. On the technology side, here the 63 and also 63S, they come with a rear differential lock. That is so standard for this one to get all the power on the ground, although it already comes with all-wheel drive. And suspension, a normal GLC would also already come either with an adaptive suspension or then with an air suspension. So it's still pretty rare in the mid-size or mid-size SUV segment. And then here the GLC 63 comes with the AMG version of the air suspension, adaptive air suspension. So yes, air suspension, but a little bit stiffer. However, as we've tested that one in the GLC 43 pre-facelift, we felt it's really stiff and you didn't really feel anymore that it's an air suspension. We will test that out with a facelifted 63 as soon as we can drive it. If you can still feel here that it's an air suspension and if you can vary a little bit more between comfort and the sporty features. We'll keep you updated on that, I promise. So whereas the new facelifted 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol engines come now with a 48-volt board net and a mild hybrid system, this one here, the 4-liter bi-turbo V8, still no 48-volt support or MHEV or something. This one here also really handcrafted. This is a true AMG engine. either with the 63 normal version, 476 horsepower, or here with the 63S, 510 horsepower, and the acceleration figures then to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour are either 4 seconds, or with this one here, even 3.8. And wow, that's blasting fast. And they even claim now they've just reset a new record lap on the Nürburgring Nordschleife racetrack with 7 minutes 49, making it the fastest SUV in this segment, or they say even the fastest SUV overall. It really always depends on the definition, but that's really very, very fast for an SUV. So also driving dynamics wise, we can expect a little bit more even than before here with the facelifted version. Now to the interior of the GLC, first of all. Nice door closing sound. Then the inside of the doors with article leatherette. Right here and there, soft touch, galvanized buttons at the window levers, and a brushed aluminum style, very clean and sporty. The optional Burmester sound system also gives you good sound, but is really coast intensive. Bigger bottles do fit here, and you open the trunk right there with a separate button, or also at the key, or then also with the button at the trunk. New steering wheel updated, flat bottom. Distronic controls at the steering wheel, and you have those new button fields here where you control the suspension here. That will then be a small display right there, and on the other side for the driving modes. Seats will be standard. A sports seat with separated head restraint is a little bit thicker then, and also with microfiber dynamic on the inside, article leatherette on the outside. Those ones here are the optional AMG sports seats, integrated head restraint, slimmer, stiffer, a little bit more caged in. For the racetrack maybe better, and also with optional animal skin pack. I would not pick those because they reduce the comfort, and hardly anyone will use this on Nürburgring Nordschleife that Mercedes did for testing. So rather go for the base sports seat, save money and save comfort. I'm 1.86 m or 6'1". Regular Autogefühl subscribers will know it. And here with the panoramic roof inbuilt leaves me some headroom, but not too much. The predecessor, the GLK, before the GLC was around, was a little bit more rectangular build, a little bit more roomish, besides the trunk, which is longer than the GLC. Well, you feel somewhat caged in a little bit by this cockpit. It more feels like being in a C-Class, and of course they share a lot of parts. The steering wheel can be controlled electronically, so it's the left side right there, so it's a good and cozy function. This one here also features this microfiber grip at right and left side. That's pretty cool actually. I really like it. It gives you good grip in summer and winter time. And again, I have to say those optional sports seats are really not that comfortable. However, for adults, of course, you have way more than enough space in the front right there. You can also play with this turbine vents. They are not in the newest design, but already have the nice clicking sound. Seat control here at the inside of the doors. You can even put the lowest part here a little bit longer if you have longer legs. Well, in the reviews it's always a little bit weird, but when the door is closed, it's of course very easy to reach it. In the interior, much more has been happening, because here, well, you start still with analog gauges on the left and the smaller screen on the right, and an option you get all digital gauges, 12.3 inch and 10.25 inch big screen. And both, if you go smaller or bigger screen on the right side, central infotainment screen, they all come now with the MBUX. And if you have here the 63, this is the setup you get, then you already get the optional setup as you see it right here now. And I think, well, if you spend so much money for a 63 or 63S, that's also an understandable decision. This one also features a new voice input. We've tested it a couple of times now, for example, for GPS or temperature input or so. But you can still change it here. It's also a touch screen, so yeah, very well deserved for this car to get this new input. You can also change some information from while driving, when the engine is on. Phone connection, Bluetooth, Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, both is possible. And the navigation is actually quite nice to use. We're here in NYC. If you have a better web connection, then it works even a little bit faster. So this infotainment update is really, or was really necessary with the GLC, the one the customer actually profits most from. And also very nice that they have this middle console not only in the piano black lacquer, but also here in this carbon fiber style that makes it more premium. And one more close-up look on the digital instruments. You can also change the stuff then here when the car is fully powered with your left thumb, whereas the right area here for your right thumb then would be for the central infotainment screen. Again, for example, for browsing in the map or also for changing through the whole main menu. Other than that, here again the manual climate unit, easy to control by driving, and you still also have those hotkeys. I found them very useful that you can always access the map, for example, and click on this Navigate button. Also here, this one opens for adaptive cup holders, USB-C device now, and inductive charging pad. And if you don't want to use a touchscreen right there, you can also use touchpad. Go back with those hotkeys. Then those driving modes, really important for the AMG model because especially the air suspension will adapt it. And oh, wow. The exhaust button to give it even more tune with a special exhaust valve if you don't like your neighbors so much. Brom brom. And the middle armrest flips up like this, and now also with USB supplies right there. No problems to sit here with 4 tall adults in the GLC. Also headroom wise, no problem, even if you have the panoramic roof installed. It's also interesting to compare that with the GLC Coupe because that one has the falling roofline. And you can see that those doors, they do not open that wide, especially in the rear. So if you think about a family trying to install child seats here, by the way, ISOFIX at the outside of the seats each, that is maybe then a little bit tricky. And also with the seat here, you have no control to adjust the angle or something, and you fall backwards a little bit. Maybe for a sleeping position, yeah, but then again for a normal comfortable drive in the rear. So I have had SUVs which were a little bit more comfortable or more adjustable in the rear here. Again, it's totally fine, but I've already seen better. The facelift did not change anything from that, by the way, but of course with every presentation we sum up the whole car again for you. If you ask yourself SUV or coupe for the GLC, well, this is the reason to go for the GLC SUV because it has the higher trunk right there. Sliding rail here. This is also cool because then it doesn't wobble around, so that's actually a good solution. Then since you have the air suspension, you can even lower the car a little bit. It's not powered here at the moment, but then you could lower the car here. You can also flip those seats, and they flip directly. That's well done. And you see you have very good dimensions here. Take some measurements. In length to the normal seat would be about 90 centimeters. So you can compare it with equal sedan or something like that. So, and then here in length to the driver's seat, as I would be driving, is 1 meters 80. And I would guess we also have about a meter in width, if not a little bit more. Yes, even a little bit more than a meter in width. So you can very well use it. And here the minimum height right there, about 45 centimeters. And the upper part here is 75 centimeters. So I really like how usable this car still is. I mean, it's not too big, so very well usable still also as for the exterior dimensions. So more space below that, or you can also optionally fit a replacement tire right here. The only thing here, well, those buttons on the upper part, they look quite dated now because they still originate from, I think, like 20 years ago or so when they had those first electric hatches child safety test. Very well done. Mercedes really knows how to master that one. So they always close totally properly, but you can be sure that no child head can be squished in there. So that's very well done as for this aspect too. And now to our conclusion for today with the new Mercedes GLC 63 AMG. And yes, I'm still using the old AMG on Mercedes naming platform. I just think it's a little bit more logical and people also understand it better which version is actually meant at the moment. Well, the GLC itself is really a good mid-size SUV. Now with the facelift update, it's really more about the infotainment system that you get a little bit more modern features right there. And I think that's also well done, that you can also use the latest infotainment there. Maybe not, in the very same way as the all-new models, but the closest they can get with facelifting a model. That's the main change. Yeah, and then, some cosmetics on the exterior. The GLC in the current generation surely remains one of the best mid-size SUVs out there. However, the competitors have really catched up. When you take a look, for example, at the all-new BMW X3, that is maybe even now better as for the interior quality. Just, to mention one thing about that. But here in the 63 spec, well, they claim they have the fastest SUV now, and well, you can also imagine that it was actually a good drive before, and we'll soon take a real test driving with this one here with the facelift Model 2. Interior also features some good materials if you like so they have plenty of choice there. That's where Mercedes is really strong at the moment. As for the animal and customer friendly materials, the space you have on the inside is actually also quite well done. So here with this car you can have a super powerful car, but still very versatile in everyday driving life, especially here as the SUV version. What do you think?